take on screening and quality. So, as you know, colonoscopy doesn't always protect. We're not very good at protecting against cancer on the right side of colon. Tend to develop in older people. These lesions often develop probably from serrated precursor lesions. And people with a poor polyp detection rate are more likely to miss these lesions. So what is the risk of developing cancer after a colonoscopy? Well, there's been a few studies that looked at it. And a study from America in 2015 put the risk at 0.2 per 1,000 person years. Similarly, was another study that after CT colonography put the risk at the same place. But more recently, there's a paper in New England Journal of Medicine that put the risk higher. And that study divided the risk depending on if the colonoscopist found many polyps or few polyps. If you're a bad colonoscopist, then you can expect, if you do 1,000 colonoscopies, to miss one cancer and have a patient coming back with an interval cancer within 1 year. If you're a good one, you'll get one every other year. So, how about UK then? How about the screening program in the UK? So this is the northern region of the National Health Service screening program. The adenoma detection rate, and each column is a screening colonoscopist. And you can see there's a big range. The best one on the left-hand side finds many, and the bad ones on the right-hand side finds fewer polyps. So there is a range, there is a spread. So what can I do then to improve my adenoma or polyp detection rate? How about better technology? How about high-resolution colonoscopes like they use in Japan? Well, there was a meta-analysis of it, and 5 studies put together, 4,000 patients, 1,800 polyps. The benefit of a high-resolution colonoscope was that you find 3.5% more polyps. I think it's disappointing. 3.5% is not many polyps, is it? I have to do 28 colonoscopies to find one extra adenoma. Can I help myself? How about if I just look a second time? I'll go to cecum, I'll go back and go down again. Yes, you find 3% more polyps. Ask your nurses to help. Yes, you find 6% more polyps. Doesn't cost you anything. Do colonoscopy in the morning, you find 8% more polyps. Have a coffee before your endoscopy list. You'll probably find more polyps. It's not difficult to lift it a few percent. You don't need to spend money on a big, fancy, high-resolution colonoscope. The last one on the list, the water immersion colonoscopy. That's when you pump water into the colon, and then that helps the colonoscope to slip through. And the people that advocate it, they say you find more polyps because the water magnifies. Rubbish. The only reason you find more polyps is that the water immersion washes the mucosa, so you wash off the bubbles. So, there's been a study on performance predictors. What is the most likely thing that makes you a good colonoscopist? How about if you're young with very good eyes? Makes no difference. How about if you're content? In England we all know that junior Female doctors are better because they're very careful and conscientious. How about being a female colonoscopist? Makes no difference. How about if you've done 10,000 lifetime colonoscopies? You're an experienced guy. Makes no difference. How about if you did 1,000 colons last year? Makes no difference. How about if you qualified 30 years ago, you've got 30 years of experience behind you, 30 years of colonoscopy, like me, makes no difference. How about if you qualified 40 years ago, you're extremely senior, eyesight not so good, but you're very senior, makes no difference. Hell, what makes a difference then? Going to a conference like this, watching interesting videos, makes a difference to your colonoscopy? Makes no difference. This is all very depressing. But one thing makes a difference. If you're a dedicated endoscopist, that makes a difference. You just do endoscopy. You're specialized. To be specialized makes a difference. So, can you teach performance? There was the study of 38 Polish endoscopy centers, where a team was, each unit was visited by a team from England, I think, and they taught them about, how we teach colonoscopy in the UK. There was a 2-day hands-on training course, and the adenoma detection rate increased by 4%. About the same as getting your nurse. It's worse than getting your nurse to look at the screen. So I conclude from that, I'm not sure you can teach quality in colonoscopy. I'm not sure. And of course there are other issues. Leadership, please be quiet. We now stop the talk. We're looking at the screen. We're looking for polyps. Please, everyone, look for polyps. Maybe lock the door so no one can come in and out of your endoscopy room. No telephone calls. No phone calls. Good technique. Maybe doing the colonoscopies in the morning when you're fresh. And a Friday afternoon, you say, please don't tell me to hurry up. This is going to take as long as it takes. Okay, so those are the things you can do, of course, to improve your adenoma detection rate. But let's go back one step. How many polyps grow to cancers? Do we know that? If I see a polyp, I leave it or miss it. What's the risk that it's going to grow to cancer? There's been studies on this. It was a Norwegian study saying that on average, if you miss a polyp, 1.25% of polyps will grow into cancer in 5 years, and 2.5 at 10 years, and 5% at 20. The risk is not so high. The risk is not so high. Another Berry-Menema studies, bigger polyps this time. Berry-Menema finds bigger polyps, put the risk at 2.5% progression at 5 years. Still not such a high risk. CT colonoscopy finds many polyps. The progression risk, 6% of polyps in the 6 to 9 millimeter range grow larger to 10 millimeter. But there was no cancers. There's been a meta-analysis. 1,034 polyps, 1 turned malignant after 1 year. So, you can miss 1,034 polyps and only risk 1 turning cancerous. That's a lot of polyps you can miss. Isn't it then strange? The study by Kaminsky showed that if you miss many polyps, your progression rate, the risk of an interval cancers within 3 years after your colonoscopy is very, very high. How can this be? perhaps it's not finding and removing polyps which reduces the risk of cancer in the future. Could it be something else? Let's go through what else it can be. If colonoscopy is not just about finding small polyps, what is colonoscopy about? We know the first thing, and this is a recent study from bowel cancer screening programs. Slowing down your extubation, you will find more, not just polyps, but cancers as well. Extubation over 6 minutes, we used to say, according to this graph, is more like 7 or 8 minutes. But there is more than that. The good colonoscopists look behind the folds. And there's a polyp. The blind fold, you look behind it, there's a polyp there. Maybe it could be a cancer, but I look behind the fold to make sure. If I find a small polyp, I could possibly leave it. I can probably leave 1,000 of those before one turns cancerous. But occasionally, that is a cancer already. If you don't look behind the fold, you miss it. Here's another example. Fold looks a bit irregular. You look behind it, there is a cancer there. 8 millimeter cancer. Saw that. I spotted the fold. Bowel cleansing, absolutely clean. No bubbles. I saw the fold looked irregular. I looked behind it, there's a cancer. I retrovert in the rectum and there is a polyp. I find a polyp, it looks benign in anteversion, when we look behind it, it's cancer. Some of us adequately distend the bowel, and like Takuya said this morning, some of us turn the patient so that the bit we examine is always upwards. By inflating the bowel, you can see the little polyp there. And of course, you don't allow any bubbles at all. Always wash. And of course, you want the best colonoscope in the room. You want the high resolution one. And when you pull the scope back, sometimes you slip back very quickly, then you go back in again and look at that bit again. Because it's behind the folds, you miss things. And we know what to look for. Can you see the frogs? How many frogs are there? You have to tune your eyes. 1 frog, 2 frogs, 3 frogs. You have to tune your eyes for the early cancers. And when you do this, of course, you find many diminutive, small, irrelevant little polyps. That doesn't matter. But what you will also find are these early cancers. That's what it's all about. So, my conclusion, take your time, look behind the folds, distend the colon adequately, lots of spasm, you give Buscopan. Always wash the mucosa. Bubbles, never allowed. Puddles, never allowed. Always completely dry the colon. And if you slip back, you go back in again. That is what makes you a good colonoscopist. That's quality. there is the unofficial conclusion to my talk, and this is it. This is my own take. Quality is not about technology and high resolution. I'm not sure you can teach it. Quality is an attitude that you want to do it just right. I think you're born with it, or you have the fire to do it just right. If you don't have that fire, I don't think it can be kind of kindled. It has to start here really. This is where quality starts. This is where quality sits. Not in your colonoscope, but in here. Thank you very much.
Спасибо большое, уважаемый Бьорн. Коллеги, у вас есть вопросы? Нет? Задавайте, пожалуйста. 2 микрофона есть в зале. Можете поднять руку, вам передадут микрофон. Вот пока коллеги думают, я задам вопрос. Прозвучало, что... Have you got translation? Have you got translation? Have you got translation? У вас есть перевод? Have you got translation? Yes, you got. Тогда я задам свой вопрос, пока вы думаете. Прозвучало, что вроде бы подготовка не имеет большого значения, или как-то так вскользь, что подготовка толстой кишки не имеет значения для выявления полипов, как-то так. Как в вашей клинике готовятся пациенты к колоноскопии? И действительно ли хорошая подготовка улучшает эффективность, повышает колоноскопию?
Yes, no doubt about it. The bulk preparation is one of the fundamentals, and it's very difficult to get right. I think we're all moving in the same direction, that we want clean prep, split doses. That's where we are at the moment. Half the dose the night before, the other half on the morning of examination. In Japan they disagree. In Japan they say no, this is wrong. What you should do is you drink 2 liters very quickly, and then within 30 minutes you start your colonoscopy. That's the way to do it. That's the Japanese way. And in Japan you sit around the table, and with a jug, all the patients sit around the table, and you keep drinking, and when you think you're clean, the nurse comes and has a look, say, no, it's not clean, go back, drink more. It's a very tough regime. The most important, though, I think, Katarina, is to tell the patient, it's going to taste terrible, but you need to drink it. There are some tricks. Keep it cool. Have some water and rinse your mouth out after each sip of it. If you feel it at the back here, slow down. You've got time to drink it. So there are tricks to help achieving good bowel cleansing.
Спасибо большое. У нас вопрос для вас.
В моем вопросе он ответил на большинство. Я хотел спросить, как они готовят детишек, как они готовят детей. То есть в нашем случае это люди до 16 лет. Приходилось ли встречаться с этим и как они готовят?
No, in 16 is kind of borderline pediatrics. If they're kind of big, they've gone through puberty, they come to our list and they have standard bowel cleansing. But if they're small and haven't gone through puberty, then they go through pediatrics. And they tend to do it under general anesthetic. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Спасибо большое. Виктор Владимирович, комментарий.
Я бы хотел заключить. Если есть вопросы, пожалуйста, пусть задают.
Вопросы еще в зале есть?
Если они собираются задать вопросы, вы знаете, хотел сказать, что этот доклад не просто понравился, не просто очень понравился, а это бальзам на мою душу ученика Владимира Павловича Триколовского. 30 лет тому назад в тезисах под названием «Современная концепция эндоскопической полиптомии» он писал, что эндоскопическая полиптомия не может быть мерой профилактики колоректального рака. Это метод лечения самостоятельного заболевания, называющегося полипом толстой кишки, имеющий свою частоту разделения, маргинизации, кровотечения и обтурации просвета кишки. Эндоскопическая полипектомия, он говорил, не может предотвратить рака толстой кишки, потому что рак толстой кишки зачастую возникает в тех местах, где полипы не выявлялись и не удалялись. Совершенно верно. Что ж мы гоняемся за этими полипами маленькими, пытаемся всех убрать, это не приведет к снижению частоты колотерного рака. Нужно выявлять маленькие раки, стараться их видеть, что мы видели в этом. И интересно, есть такой заюк в Израиле, который пропагандировал в свое время такую концепцию, что полипы вообще не следует удалять, за исключением 3 случаев, когда они малигнизированы, когда они кровоточат или обтурируют просвет кишки. Все. Так что вот этот доклад совершенно совпадает с нашими со всеми мнениями по поводу этого эндоскопической полипектомии. Спасибо вам большое. Thank you.
Уважаемые коллеги, появились ли вопросы? Нет?
Похоже, что нет.
Похоже, что нет.
Тогда мы переходим к следующему сообщению.